I believe, and this is personal, that black and brown artists should be creating their own spaces. And I believe by creating your own spaces, you know, within that space you can establish yourself. And then you can take what you've made in that space and take it anywhere. You know, prestige is prestige. A great show is a great show. But one of the things that I found off the back of creating Nouveau Riche is that I can see the fulfillment of a vision there with a whole entire team of people that understand what I'm saying, where I'm coming from. That yes, there is critique and dramaturgy, but it's coming from a great place. It's coming from the heart rather than somebody going, I just don't understand your experience.
There's a greater pressure for theatre to educate, for audiences to come out of a show feeling like they've learned something, like they've gained something in the last 90 minutes. Making a show as a person of colour is a lot of pressure because it feels like you have to make a show about being a person of colour, and you have to make a show about police brutality and racism and Islamophobia, and these are massive themes.
I think the industry's looking for stories that feel modern, that feel connected again to the world we are living in, to the 21st century, and also stories that help us to look back and to learn and to re-educate. Whether I think that that's the stories that we should be telling, I think there's a debate. Because I think you should do that. I think it's necessary to want to, you know, tell the stories of our generation. Everybody wants to leave their mark. Everyone wants to take the piece of themselves and leave it there as their legacy. Like, I was here, this is what my life looked like. And I think that's really exciting. But I think we have to allow space for nuance in that, and allow space for stories that feel as if they're representing all the different facets of a person. If I'm speaking directly about like my experience, for example, black stories about other black women, I think at the moment, the general landscape of like theatre or creativity, you're going to see a lot of things that feel very trauma-driven. And feel like it's rooted in a lot of pain, and that's great because I think people will come and watch it and feel like, well, particularly white people, and think, oh, I've really learned something new here, it's educated me. But does the story itself that you're telling, is that going to fulfill the person that it's about?
We shouldn't feel a pressure to have to play out those huge, vulnerable parts of our lives on stage every time we go to make a show.
I feel like there is a desperate need sometimes for artists of colour to dilute their voice in order to get on stage, or to create work that is palatable to mainstream white audiences. That's what when people say mainstream, they mean white. And as an artist, up and coming, one of the main things that you want and that you need is your work to be on. So every now and then you might go, you know what, I'll take this out and I'll take that out and I'll listen to this piece of dramaturgy that isn't essential to my piece or doesn't help my piece in any way at all, but it means that at least my play is going to get put on, at least I'm going to get paid.
I've gotten to the stage in life where I think I feel like I just need to say what I need to say. And I think a lot of that is to do with the stage of life that I entered the industry and the space. I just feel there's such an urgency for me to create work and to use the time I have to say what I want to say, that I don't really think I've got time to compromise. I just have to say it and see what happens.
I think the way that you stop yourself from compromising is by staying grounded, regardless of the point in your journey you're in. It's like think about it like a block of wood, right? If a block of wood is square like that, that's it, solid in its form. But you chip. One chip, two chip is fine because it still looks like a block of wood, but the more you chip, the more it's going to be watered down and the shape of it will change. I suppose it's about trying not to betray yourself and staying rooted and connected to the people who remind you of who you are, of where you come from, and the kind of creative that you want to be.